Well, just about everyone's familiar with the pre-approval step in home buying, but what exactly does that process look like? We're going to talk to you about what a good pre-approval looks like and what you can expect as you're looking for your next mortgage. Hello, glad to have you inside the Smart Mortgage Show. I am Ben George, but more importantly, he is Bill Litton at Cross Country Mortgage, and we're here again to talk a lot about mortgage lending, refinancing, all kinds of topics that relate to your home buying process, and hopefully answer some questions you might have. Today, Bill, we're focused on the pre-approval process, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, but the goal today is to really try to break it down so somebody knows exactly what to expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, there are a million variations as to what that looks like with different companies, and there's some very similar. There's a lot of similarity between a lot of companies, but we have a very specific process, and we feel like it yields the best result. We want to go over that with you.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of set it up that way because it's not something most people would even think about, right? I'm getting a mortgage. It doesn't really matter where I go. The steps are going to be the same. I show you my credit, what I have saved, and then you show me what my options are, and then we get into a home, right? But it's really not that straightforward. In some places, like cross country, are going to be a little more in depth, a little more detailed, a little more consultative, right?
Yeah, and so so there are companies out there where they get you on the phone and they say, "Hey, really nice to meet you. I'm going to flip you a link to my online application, fill it out, and then I'll zing out a pre-approval letter to you, and sometimes not even a loan estimate, right? You just get a pre-approval letter. Now you've got this letter that says you can buy a house, but you really don't know anything about the loan. You don't know the terms, you don't know any of the details, and guys, we're borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy homes that are, very expensive, and we need to know more about what does this piece of paper mean?
So again, as we go through this today, if you want to sit down with Bill, the best thing to do is take advantage of the free 15-minute mortgage and loan consultation. It's kind of this beginning of process, right? And kind of talk through what your goals are, what you're hoping to accomplish, and kind of look at your different options potentially and begin that conversation more importantly. So again, go to smartmortgageshow.com to learn more as we go through this. So let's take them through the pre-approval process and just kind of what does a good pre-approval look like? Where does it start, Bill?
So it starts with an initial, typically phone conversation, and it's about a 15 to 20 minute phone call, but it's a process of discovery where we ask a lot of important questions because we need to learn what it is that your goals are, right? So it's kind of like the old, a lot of people when you call them, it's like, "Hey, I'm with so-and-so mortgage and our rates are this and our terms are that. And we've got a great construction loan." And the consumer's thinking, "Well, I'm not looking to build a house, so I don't need a construction loan." And so it's more all about them. It's about the customer. And we need to ask a lot of questions so we can understand what the goals are and understand the financial picture.
All right. So once you've kind of done that, established kind of that initial discovery and made sure that everything kind of lines up to move forward, then what's that second step look like?
So the second step would be where we collect information. And this is really important because, first of all, we do it through an online portal. And we do that because it's the portal that you're going to transact through, sign things through. So, most of our closing documents, day of settlement, our settlements are short because most of the documents are signed in this portal. Makes it very smooth and easy. But the idea is we're reviewing all of the important information like pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, credit reports. All of the important information is reviewed and analyzed up front so that we're 100% sure that whatever we tell you we can do, we can absolutely do it. Which a lot of lenders, you go online, you answer 3 questions and boom, you got a pre-approval, which someday, right, with AI, that may be possible. We're not there yet. We're not, thank God, because I probably would be doing something else. But look, that is what we do, right? We dig deep into those documents to make sure we don't send out pre-approvals that we're not 100% sure we can get you to the settlement table. If we're not sure, you don't get the pre-approval.
What exactly documents too, when you talk about collecting information, just what are some of the key things people need to have ready or just be expecting you to ask for?
Yeah. So the key things are when you go into our online application, just typing in all your personal information, name, address, birth date, social. Really important is we look for a 2-year housing history. Where have you lived over the last 2 years, and a 2-year employment history. So put in a minimum of 2 years with month and year start date and end date. Doesn't need to be the exact day of the month, but roughly what month and what year did you start this job and end this job? And then from a document standpoint, pay stubs, 1 month of your most recent pay stubs, W-2s for the last 2 years. If you're self-employed, 2 years of business tax returns, or if you're a sole proprietor, that's going to be on your personal 1040s. So that's going to let us look at the income. In addition, we're going to review your credit report, because one of the things we do with your information that you've typed into our portal is we review your credit. So we're going to review credit, make sure that that meets all the guidelines, because that is really important. It's not just looking at the scores, it's looking at each individual trade line, each individual credit account. We're going to be looking at that document as well.
All right, we're going through the pre-approval process. More importantly, what a good pre-approval looks like, and make sure you kind of know what to look for. Because if you're going through the pre-approval process, or you're going through it now and maybe you haven't seen some of these steps, maybe it's time to just kind of rethink, maybe see what other options are on the table. And kind of part of this process too, I think that's really important, Bill, kind of the next thing I want to discuss is that professional consultation that you guys provide across country.
Once you're pre-approved, I think sending the pre-approval letter and the loan estimate, and make sure you get everything in writing. Lenders that won't send things in writing on a loan estimate, not just typing in, this is your payment, this is your loan amount. The loan estimate shows you where every dollar goes. We feel like just sending that to somebody without reviewing it is kind of irresponsible. We want to review it with the client. And it's really important, because what we see is if they don't review it, one of a few things is going to happen. When they go to write their first offer, they're then going to become very interested in it, because now it's becoming more real that this might be something that they have to accept from a payment and a cash out of pocket standpoint. So it's like, pay me now or pay me later. Do it up front, or you're going to have to do it in the long run. So you might as well do it up front. That way, when you're shopping for a house, the financing is not a question mark in your mind. You're 100% sure you know what the financing looks like. You have an understanding. The experience is so much better when if you're walking around the house, you can be paying attention to the house, not have your mind in two spots, because this big question mark on financing is still a question mark. We don't want that. The other thing is, if you don't go over the loan estimate up front, at the settlement table, you start to get like, oh man, I really should. And people do this. They get to the table and they're like, man, I need to really understand this now. Well, it's a little late,
Yeah.
right? If they don't pay attention at the settlement table, hey, you know what? Maybe you make a lot of money and it's a little bit of debt and you're fine. It doesn't matter. But for most people, it's a big impact on their finances. And if you're not paying attention and it doesn't fit your budget, and you start making this payment and you can't make the payment, now we've got big problems.
So it's so important to kind of understand everything, know the numbers, kind of see the big picture. And again, this is what a good pre-approval will look like. What's kind of the final piece of this conversation, Bill, and the way that you guys help your customers?
Yeah. So the final piece is, once we've reviewed all of the pre-approval documents, loan estimate, all the pertinent details that we send in the pre-approval email, important loan considerations, then it's to go to the next step to get a mortgage commitment, where we have an actual underwriter pre-underwrite your loan. And it really does two things. One, it helps you make really strong offers, because a mortgage commitment is stronger than a pre-approval. So anybody on the other side that sees that, it's going to push your offer to the top. The other thing that it really helps you do is, you're just doing a lot of the work you're going to have to do anyway. You're doing it up front. You're doing it ahead of time. So when you decide to make an offer, get under contract, now there's less work to do between the time your contract's accepted and settlement, or you might want to speed up your settlement date. We can get you to settlement in 2 weeks if we've already done all the underwriting.
So important, so important. So again, it all starts with that initial discovery conversation. You can take advantage of that right now if you want to start that process, learn more about what options are out there, what pre-approval could look like for you. Again, that number 484-352-4151. Also go check out smartmortgageshow.com. You can learn more about what Bill and Cross Country do every single day to help people get into a mortgage and, more importantly, get into the right product for them. So I hope this gives you a little bit better understanding. But again, if you want to follow up any questions on your mind, please leave a comment below or give Bill and the team at Cross Country a call. Bill, any final thoughts before we close this one out?
Yeah, just that, this is our process. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We love to be hands-on. We love to help and educate and consult. So use us as a resource. This is what we're here for. Our pledge to you is we're going to help you make the very best decisions when it comes to buying a house. We look at our clients like they're clients for life, and we want you to come back to us every time because you got the best advice, you got great terms, and the experience was second to none.
All right. Again, 484-352-4151 for Bill Litton. Again, he is regional president of Cross Country Mortgage right there in Chaddsford, Pennsylvania. Bill, thanks for the time as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
This program is for informational purposes only. Please consult a qualified professional before taking any action. Bill Litton is a loan advisor and regional president with Cross Country Mortgage, NMLS number 147060.